I became an aunt a couple of years ago, and my brother-in-law, who knows I've done over 1,000 hours of research on this topic of risk-taking to deal with accelerated rate of change, said that he saw a very provocative sign on the delivery room door, and it said, "The first 5 minutes of life are filled with many risks." And underneath, someone had scrawled in pencil, "The last 5 minutes ain't so hot either." And I thought, you know, the first 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes, and all of the minutes in between, if we're really growing, if we're really addressing change, if we're being honest with ourselves. And I think the worst thing that could happen to any one of us in this room is that we get so caught up in the fear, uncertainty, and doubt of change and growth that we start developing anti-risk-taking strategies and start feeding the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. You know, we all have fear, uncertainty, and doubt about a certain amount of growth and change. All of us do. My husband, Gene, we've been married for about 15 years, and a few years ago, he started getting a little bald on top. Okay? Well, it didn't matter to me. Not a bit, no. The man's a handsome man. Beautiful eyes, beautiful smile. In fact, I think my husband, Gene, has one of the sexiest qualities a man can have. Dishpan hands. Well, you know, we're a dual career couple like many of you, and we have to make the bacon and fry it up together too. But I had to understand that he was going through a little bit of that fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And I tried to boost his ego. You know, I'd try to say things to make him feel good, like, "Honey, well, why waste all those hormones growing hair?" And I would try I would try to keep my ears open for solutions to this particular problem, and respect the fact that he was follically challenged. And we heard about an herbal remedy. You combine 50% alum, 50% persimmon juice, and you combine it into an ointment. Spread it on the thinning areas. Now, it doesn't do anything for the balding, but what it does is it shrinks your head to fit what you have. Listen, there's nothing like a little humor to shrink the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that comes with growth and change. And I believe that's what we can share as teams, sharing a little bit of that humor. And I'm going to talk about 3 other tools that I know all of you have developed in your projects, or you wouldn't even be here today. Turning our challenges into opportunities to grow. Surrounding ourselves with people who are a wind in our sail and not an anchor on our tail. And flexibility in times of change. My favorite prayer, "Blessed are the flexible, for they will not get bent out of shape." And these three tools that have been so helpful to me and to you are demonstrated in this story I'd like to share with you. It was a story of a time I took a risk, like you. I took a risk. I was invited to sing on this beautiful cruise ship. Now, to fully understand the quantum leap in my career that this was, you'll have to understand where I'd been singing up until that time as a professional singer and entertainer. Did any of you see the Blues Brothers movie? Oh, yeah, about 2 or 3 of us. Okay, well, for those of you who didn't see it, for the guy who's laughing knows, the Blues Brothers, they had a cage around the stage to protect the performers in case you sang anything that the audience didn't like. Those were the kind of places that I was singing up until this time. So when I was invited to sing on this beautiful cruise ship, I was excited. I mean, this was a real quantum leap in my career. I rented a black sequined gown. I was going to sing with a 13-piece orchestra. I was so excited. I pulled my car into the Berkeley Marina and drove around for about 15 minutes before I realized I wasn't certain where the ship would be loading, and I'd have to get a little more information. Pulled my car next to a nearby hot dog stand, got out, and wouldn't you know it, Murphy's Law struck again. Now, we all know what Murphy's Law is. I was talking to one of the people who had a particularly difficult challenge in their project, and he talked about O'Toole's Law, and I said, O'Toole's Law, what's that? And he said, Murphy was an optimist. You know what I mean? And that's the way I felt, because when I looked back, the car keys were on the other side of that door. Thank you for that sound of empathy. Over here in the peanut gallery, yes, I locked the keys in the car. Have you been there? Oh my gosh. I tried to relax. I tried to think. I tried to remember all those relaxation exercises they give us in Life Force, and I started deep breathing on that boardwalk. Relax. Relax. Oh God. Oh God, those keys were still on the other side of that locked door, and I realized I had to put a little positive action to positive thinking. Now, I consider myself a very resourceful person. I consider myself a liberated woman, but I am going to confess to you that I am not above stooping to great lengths in times of desperation. I've also found, as many of you have to reach out for help. Our team members sometimes have the answers that we don't. We've got to be able to reach out to other people for help. And so, as a policeman drove by, I ran up to him, and in the most Dixie sweet southern voice, I said, "Please, Mr. Policeman, sir, I have locked my keys in my car, and I'm to sing on the blue and gold ship that leaves in exactly 12 and a half minutes. Can you help me, sir?" Well, he got out of that patrol car looking just like John Wayne. All 7 feet of him, he said, "Don't worry, little lady, leave it to me." And he was in that car in 45 seconds. The skill was unbelievable, unbelievable. And as he pointed down to the other end of the boardwalk, where the ship would be loading, I turned into Superwoman before his very eyes. All of my musical equipment was in the car. I pulled out speakers, amplifiers, cord bags, microphone stands, everything, and loaded it onto my dolly, strapped it in. Now, luckily, I don't wear my high heels until just before I get on stage. But I can tell you right now, I was definitely not dressed for success in a full-length black sequined outfit and Nike's running shoes with "Just Do It" blazoned on the side, all of my equipment flying behind me as I made my way down that boardwalk in an effort to beat the clock. Time seemed to make everything stand absolutely motionless as I raced past cars, trees, flowers, kids with cotton candy, strollers with screaming babies, lampposts, fire hydrants, video game arcades, oily bathers with sunburned skin. All of them seemed frozen in time as I raced past them down the boardwalk in an effort to beat the clock, crossing an awesome parking lot just in time to see them pulling up the loading plank, and I cried, "Wait, wait!" But they didn't hear me. And I knew I was going to really have to step on the gas in order to make it. I was working my arms and legs just as fast as they'd go, sweat dripping all over my black sequins, and I cried, "Wait, wait!" But they still didn't hear me, and I knew I was going to have to make a decision as I gauged the distance between me and that ship. I knew I was going to have to make a decision as my arms and legs started slowing down no matter how hard I tried to work them. I knew I was going to have to make a decision as I realized I wasn't going to make it this way. I knew I had to make a decision. Should I just quit? But then I decided to take a risk, just one more risk, try one more thing. I reached within myself and pulled out my singer's ace in the hole, and I commanded, "Well,